Back, everybody, and welcome to a Moo episode of Indie Film Cafe. I'm your old pal, the Moo Cow, aka A Presenza, and I'm joined by
Jonathan A. Moody, your co-host,
yay, and together we are both joined by
Just Jenn.
who's shaking her head at us. I don't know why.
oh, I think
Giving
she
into
knows.
the cow thing.
Well, yeah, I love the cow thing. I think it's fun.
And together we are here to watch a movie, and as I mentioned before, this is a stinky, notoriously bad film that has been on my list. That every time I see it, I'm like, no. It's we got to get it off my plate. We have to just pull that Band-Aid, and it's.
You keep saying "have to." I don't know that we have.
Actually,
to.
I think we do because I think I know what it is. So when he announces it, I'm gonna say if that was
Any
right.
serious
encourage him.
stinky movie hound is gonna be expecting this film on their list, and I'm interested in survival psychology. You know, those people who like survive tragedies and huge problems, and then they bond, they form a brotherhood. Like,
I'm not.
Like those World War I veterans that have their legs and arms blown off and got mustard gassed, and then they all sit together in a group
In a trench?
later years, and they're like, "Oh, you remember when that mustard gas bomb came and fell?" And they're all like, "Yeah, but we survived, and we're all stronger for it."
This is not making me feel good or better.
I know the way you're describing it does not make anybody want to watch whatever you're gonna watch. But
I'm not gonna lie, it's a roughie. We're gonna be going back in the Wayback Machine, all the way back to 2001 for the movie Hop Locos.
oh, so it isn't the movie I was thinking it was.
Do you know Hop Locos?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, there's a reason. The only people who've heard of it know why it's out there. It's notoriously bad.
Oh, goody.
That's all I know. But I thought you
We'll
were
get it
gonna do something else. I'll
out
tell
the
you what I
way.
thought.
Think about it this way. Any other future movies with you are going to be better. They pretty much have to be.
I don't know. I've seen some pretty bad ones here.
Miss Werewolf.
Yeah, Miss
Yeah.
Werewolf is one of them.
Miss Werewolf has moments of fun.
If that's what you want to call it, but
Oh, well, no. Well, anyway, we will be back after some mood music. Okay, Holmes, we are back, and I am just dying to hear what you two have to say about this scholarly, erudite, sophisticated movie known as Hop Locos. Which one of you would like to chime in first?
I think we watched a different movie, if that's your description of it.
Well, did you use a big word there? Erudite. Right?
Erudite, that's
Erudite.
right. These two gentlemen, clearly with the vocabulary of Rhodes scholars, had quite a lot of in-depth things to say with very, very large, flowery words and phrases. And yeah, they were simply poets. Wouldn't you agree?
You can't see Jen's face, but I think she's very confused.
I
now.
think there's a reason we're not doing this in person, because I think I would have had to smack you halfway through that.
I think you might need more than a cup of eggnog there. You might need a barrel.
Anyway, well, we have to explain this. We are doing it. We were doing it in person. Now we're not doing it in person.
Just Jen ran away. She couldn't take it anymore. She's like, "That's it, Holmes. I'm out of here."
I mean,
Fuck
she
this
didn't, but she did.
and shit.
It wasn't like, she had to go. But on top of that, I think she really wanted to go.
I wasn't upset about it.
Yeah,
Why?
she wasn't like, oh man, I'm gonna miss the last
The movie that drove
minutes.
Just Jen away.
Well, I don't feel like I've missed any of it.
Yeah,
It was the
I think
same
I
film,
don't think you did either. Like literally, the ending was just like everything else you just saw.
right?
There was
right.
nothing much going on.
So, what is it that happens in this movie known as Hip Hop Locos?
Well,
Not
I
it.
want to. I'll start because I know Jen doesn't want to go through this anyway. And I actually watched the whole thing, so I can maybe describe what happened. So the beginning, by the way, so the beginning starts with these two guys just talking to the camera, the two main guys, and they are both wannabe rappers, I guess, white rappers who are trying to be Hispanic.
I think they are Hispanic.
Are they?
Yeah, they seem pretty pale and pretty white, but I believe they are because if you look at them, it's Lorenzo Munoz Jr. and
No. That's the director. That's not
the,
neither of
well,
those guys.
he's the guy. He plays Uno Dos. That's him.
Really?
Yes.
So he has two names.
Yes. He's Uno
Oh,
Dos. That's like his performance name or whatever.
is his other performance name Uno Dos Tres?
Yeah, that's
Thank.
him. And the other
Anyway.
guy is the other, I forget his name, but yeah,
Yeah,
they're both
it's a
Latino.
bunch of numbers instead of a name. But anyway, those two guys are, talking to the camera and they are going on about whatever. And then Paul leans over to me during it and goes, "That's the whole movie." And I go, "What?" I literally thought that the whole movie was going to be two guys talking to the camera, just saying,
It pretty much is.
Yeah, I was gonna say what
like
I saw was
75% of the movie.
right. But there was some stuff. So at least it did take, go out of that and go somewhere else.
A
But
scene
like,
did change several times. Yes.
yes.
what
But
did they
but
say?
then they started still just talking to the camera. What were you saying, Jen?
Would we say several? Paul
Yeah.
said that scene changed several times. I'm like, I don't know if we'd go into several.
There was a few, but not, maybe not several.
There were a couple of car scenes.
Yeah. There's a couple car scenes. There was a carjack scene. There
Mhm.
was a scene where they went into apartments, a couple different apartments.
There's a scene- I remember a scene when they knocked on the door and no one answered it and they went back to their car.
Yes, they were very frustrated because nobody answered.
And then they went back, I think, later.
And we knew they could prove that nobody answered because we watched the entire scene unfold where no one answered the
Yeah.
door.
So for an hour and 11-minute movie, it felt like 2.5 hour long flick.
Right.
It felt like Mrs. Werewolf, just with two guys that all they say pretty much the whole time are Holmes, essay, and shit, motherfucker, and I think it's about it. They occasionally if they put all of them in there, you got bingo. You got hip hop loco bingo,
Pretty much.
So.
Pretty much. Well, I guess the idea behind the film is, yeah, there are these hip hop wannabes who are trying to establish their street credit. And the way they've decided to do this, besides just acting like a bunch of, ghetto street trash, is to buy drugs, various kinds of drugs from various drug dealers, but then rip them off and kill them. So first they do that to a cocaine guy, then they do it to a pot guy, then they do it to some other drug guy.
At one point, they just go into the people's house and kill them.
Yeah,
there's no.
That's pretty much it. That's the movie.
Uh-huh.
And the movie ends with just another one of those. And then a couple of times they rap about what we just saw them do. Or they would, in between the actual acts, they would talk 15 minutes worth of what they're going to do. Then they would do it. And then they would talk for another 15 minutes about what they just did. And then it would be another 15 minutes about what they're going to do. They would do it. And then they go back and talk about 15 minutes what they just did. And so on and so forth. And that's it.
I love how, Paul, you said in the beginning, before we watched the movie, that we had to do this movie. It was time to do this movie.
To make it
and
go
I'm
away.
like, I don't think we ever had to do Hip Hop Locos, but I guess if we want to be a stinky movie podcast
Damn straight.
that shows off, you know, the worst of the worst, you know. And this isn't even the best of the worst. Like this isn't even this is something that you just destroy after seeing
I
it.
mean, I go down my list, the one that I have written, and I have it's a bigger list than that, but and every time I pass it on by pretty close to the top, and it's like, ooh, pick me, and I'm like, no, 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 and I skip on by, and I've been doing that for 6 seasons, and finally I'm like, okay, god damn it, we're gonna get rid of it, we're getting it off the list, we're making this go away. Finally, we're getting it done. We're doing it. It is
Pulling off the
done.
Band-Aid.
It is a
Left
fate
it on the
accomplished.
list. It's okay. No one's complaining.
The best thing about this, Jen, you never have to see this movie ever again.
Unless you're trying to torment me, Paul, you're like, I'm gonna show it to Gary. Do you want to come? No, I don't know. Oh, I want to show this person. You should come when I do a show it to this person.
Well,
No.
again, it's not a movie you sit and actually watch. You're not going to watch it. You're going to watch everybody else watch it and see their reactions. That's what you watch it for.
But I don't have that same love of that you do. I don't think Jen has that at all.
I
No.
wouldn't call it love, just as curiosity, scientific curiosity.
No, it's love. You love tormenting people. You've even said you're a troll. Like you don't mind it. And it's fun for you, but not us.
All right, but you've been yapping long enough. I want to hear what Jen has to say because I'm sure deep down she loved this film, that it inspired her street cred, and she was all MCing and Holmes in and just being all kinds of whack, right? Right? Isn't that right, Jen?
This was absolutely horrid. This is so incredibly boring. I wouldn't even know that there was a plot if you hadn't told me, because every time they talked, I tuned it out. I couldn't understand half of what they were saying. The wannabe artistic way it was filmed was unappealing. I tuned it out. I mean, if y'all hadn't been in there, I would have been playing on my phone.
Well, you
But I
wouldn't have,
did
I mean, if
listen-
we were there, you wouldn't have watched this movie.
No,
you know?
absolutely not.
Yeah,
Absolutely not.
Turn this off. Like,
Oh,
I mean, I don't even think this could be MST3K'd.
no,
You know?
you can't find any jokes because it's just those them their faces, part of their faces, and then apparently a couple scenes, and that's it.
So you're saying this is not on the same level as Scarface?
So I've never seen Scarface, and it's so horrible, so horrible.
But it's got that sort of approach to it, the sort of
What?
anti-hero sort of, this is how they start, and they're establishing their credibility, except instead of being the biggest drug dealer around, they're trying to be hip hop stars, even though that doesn't really factor into exactly what happens. They just become a bunch of petty criminals is really what happens. I don't quite understand that.
Well, it's not like
some,
they tell people they're doing it, so nobody ever knows
yeah,
that
it's
they're
this
the ones.
weird and kind of depressing connection that in order to become a successful rap group in the urban community, you have to run around and kill people and rep off drug dealers and do this kind of, really? Is that how it is? I mean, sure, there's violence in the rap world, but and people get shot, but that doesn't mean that's exactly how you successfully become that. There are plenty of people who don't. You know what I mean? So it seems kind of cynical, if you ask me. Either that or these people had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah, I think that's more accurate.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Also, I mean, Uno Dos is a real rapper, you know.
Ish.
I mean, yeah, I mean he's done raps that have been online, like he exists as a rapper in real life, and so I don't know what this movie was supposed to be.
A launching pad, because these guys, Lorenzo Munoz Jr. did 4 movies, and this is the 4th one. So in other words, this was like the summation of all of their talent and experience and creativity, and that's it. That's the last we've seen of them. So, but
Not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm okay with never seeing him again.
Yeah, yeah.
here,
It's the
so
kind of movie you watch and then you tell someone that maybe they need to go back to college or find an apprenticeship or something. Do something.
After
So-
4 movies, and this is the last of them all,
right.
and this is so god awful,
So let me give you a little bit of background. I don't know much, but I can tell you, yeah, this movie was written and directed and starring Lorenzo Munoz Jr. He's under his pseudonym Uno Dos. His friend is J10, and I forget what his real name is, but I think this is the only movie that he is in. But yeah, he did do these other movies. He wrote another one called Paramedics, but he produced and directed. Let's see here, Faces with a Z of Death 2000. He was the
Didn't you still get sued even by just changing one letter of
yeah,
it?
I don't know. But yeah, he did that. He was a producer and director for that. He also did one where he was a producer and director called The Ultimate Death Experience. And that actually has a 6.2. That's his highest rated film. So that might actually be decent. That was 1996. Then he did one called Barrio Boys with a Z again. That was in 2000. He directed that one. And then, he did the Paramedics. He was just the producer and writer of that one. And then finally, Hop Locos, which, by the way, has a 1.1 as far as the star rating on the Internet Movie Database. That's really low. That's like subterranean low. And yeah, that is it. And that's 2001. And what's interesting, there's like two kind of time things going on here for me, because the movie itself, I mentioned this in our intro where I said it felt like that period of time when there was like this sort of mini craze for everybody running around pretending to be like this Mexican or Chicano or Latino gangster for a while. Do you remember the movie Colors that came out back in 1988?
Yeah, it was Sean Penn or something.
Sean Penn, Robert Duvall, Maria Conchita Alonso. Yeah. Dennis Hopper actually directed it.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, and everybody was running around. All the gangways, they're all Holmes and Issei and all that, and that was like the time. That was
but that seemed normal, and that was done where it wasn't annoying.
Right, but it feels like these guys loved that movie. It's just that instead of doing it back in 1988 when they were kids, they waited until 2001 when that craze was long gone, and decided to do this. And it's just really weird. Now, the fun thing is, this movie did get distribution. And guess who was that distributed it? Brain Damage. And as a matter of fact,
Pendulum Pictures, yeah.
Brain Damage, actually, when they were founded in 2001. So you got to imagine, when they were just coming out, they were probably looking for any content they could. And these guys were like, yo, Holmes, we got
a movie here.
We got some movie right here. And they said, sure, we'll distribute it. And that's what happened. So there you go, Brain Damage. And they, Brain Damage did a whole bunch of stuff from some of our folks. They did Suburban Sasquatch, and your buddies who did the Party Bus, they did that. And
they did Fungicide.
Yeah, bunch of stuff. But they also did Hop Locos. How about that?
They did Shadow Hunters, which we reviewed, or I reviewed.
Yep. They're still around too. I mean, it's not the same company.
No, they're called Midnight Releasing now.
Midnight Releasing, right.
I'm friends with a guy because it's Darren Ramage. I guess that's where it gets Brain Damage from, because his name's Darren Ramage, and sounds similar enough, I guess, or whatever. But he runs Midnight Releasing, and I think he's been cool with like sending me videos to review or whatever.
That's cool.
They like Indie Film Cafe, because even if we give it bad reviews, we're still talking about the movie.
Sure. And I mentioned it too. This is out in Tubi. So folks can go out there and dig this movie up and watch it over and over and over and over and over again, like we sure Jen's going to do when she gets home. She's going to put it on autoplay, so it just plays over and over in the background.
It is like white noise.
Yeah, she's gonna use it as ASMR.
Latino noise.
It's gonna be the B movie ASMR.
So bad. I even hesitate to call it a movie.
Well, you know what? I saw a couple reviews, and they go, they said this horror movie. They go, I don't even think I can call it a horror movie. And then they go, I don't think I can call it a movie.
Well, it's interesting because in addition to the, let's face it, banal story that really isn't much of a story, what makes it worse, what makes it really bad is the fact that for large and digestible chunks of this film, you can't see what the hell's going on. Not only is it poorly lit, but there's an awful lot of close-ups. I remember Jen was like, yes, let's keep looking up this guy's nostrils, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You would see the pox in their skin because the camera was so close. And then, the lighting was bad. And then they would do these weird effects that would make things darker. Like you would see the negative image of that scene, which would make a dark scene even darker. Why? Why do you not want people to see this? I mean, okay, I understand why you don't want people to see this, but
I don't think I just don't think they cared because I don't even think they thought they'd even get a distribution for it.
I think they just didn't know what they were doing, and they should have by movie number 4. I don't really know. I haven't seen any of their earlier films, so I'd like to just.
It'd be funny if his earlier films were the better, and this was like the worst one, and this was like their last one.
Think about it this way: if you can remember Fungicide, and remember there were a couple of times where our beloved buddy Dave Wascovich showed the same thing. It would be like. Like 5 or 6 times in a row, and he did that multiple times. And the only reason we figured he did that was because he found a new editing technique that he thought was cool, and he thought he'd have fun with it and just do it. I think that's what's going on here. I think somebody found different little weird effects that they could do, and they were just kind of playing with it, not really having a strategy as to how you utilize it for a film properly.
Yeah, I got the feeling they were trying to be artistic. And it just
okay. This is gonna sound bad. This is gonna sound bad.
Fartsy for like the whole movie. It don't work.
They're trying to be artistic, but another word that's similar to artistic.
Cabbage.
Autistic. Like it just came off really terrible. Like very bad. Like so. Like they really did not know what they were doing.
They put the ass in Asperger's. Is that what you're saying?
All right, our show just got canceled. All right, we're done.
No. I knew it was going to be bad when a couple 10, 15 minutes in something when Jonathan and I realized, shit, this is it, huh? Okay.
Oh no!
I realized it was not going to get any better when all 3 of us. So it's not just like me that's completely zoning out. But I look over at y'all 2 sitting on the couch, and then we were all having this conversation. And it was like, oh yeah, there's this movie.
We're not even really watching the movie after that. It almost
and
felt like
Paul took a phone call. Didn't pause the movie.
Got up, got some food.
Snacks, and like no one was like, "Oh, we need."
Made no difference.
You did not miss a damn thing.
Jen didn't watch the last 15 minutes, and I was telling her it didn't matter because nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, I told you that yes, I would do this recording, but I am not watching what I previously watched
because you already did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't need to watch the
little bit at the end, little bit.
Well, it's funny because our friend Elizabeth, whom we met there at the show, she was too shy.
Your friend?
Yeah. She was too shy to talk on the podcast, which was fine. But she sat there and watched the last 15 minutes with us so that we could finish it, and she was just appalled and was like, that's what I said, you can watch the first part if you want. She's like, no. Having seen the last 15 minutes, I think I've already seen the entire film. I'm like, you're right. You have.
Pretty much. She was just like, really? Like, okay. And we didn't know what happened. I mean, there were things, but it just you can't really see it, and you just can't really hear it, and those are normal things that Paul like makes him fall asleep. Like ankle biters had that issue.
Scenes, occasional scenes, like same thing with the Actia Maximus, which I know which drove you crazy. There were times there would be scenes where you couldn't hear or you couldn't see anything. This wasn't just a scene. This was the whole film. The whole film was like this.
Mhm.
I mean,
It was
look,
difficult too to try and listen to them talk because it was just so many homes and essays and shits. I mean, people complain about Valley Girls. Valley Girls, with their high level of likes, are so much easier to understand than listening to this. Like they could have been discussing how to achieve world peace and have some grand plan that would actually work. And
Well,
yeah,
the fact is, if your vocabulary doesn't go past 12 or 13 words, after a while, because it's such a talky film, it all becomes after a while. You
oh
know?
yeah, it becomes Active Maximus. That was literally what they were saying. Was, So
Much.
this was, I mean, might as well have been that. Like because I can understand anything that people were saying. There was one point where I didn't even realize they were in a fucking car because like it was so dark, and so you were just like, oh, they're killing the guy in the car, and I go, he's in a
Yeah.
car.
Somebody talk about that first scene, that first strangling scene.
I think I just did. I think that literally was the only thing that happened. Oh no, tell it, Jen.
no, it just took forever for them to strangle the guy.
Which
And
is
I
actually
know,
how you really strangle a person. It takes
yeah,
forever, but
right.
you don't need to see that.
Movie magic. Let's use movie magic.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I listen to enough true crime podcasts that, yeah, I know it's a lot harder than it looks on TV and the movies, and it's absolutely so much more horrible. You need so much more strength, but movie magic.
on IMDb, none of the characters ever have like another movie that they do, none of the actors. Maybe this was a snuff film. Maybe they really did kill that guy. They filmed it.
It
And
must
then
have been a solid 10 minutes in that scene. And the entire time, the other guy is like, choke him, Holmes. Choke that fucker. Kill him.
and
Choke him, Holmes. Choke him. Choke that bitch.
I know.
Choke him. Come on.
Mhm.
Choke him, Holmes.
All right, we don't
Choke
need the
that
whole
bitch.
all 10
Oh
minutes.
my
We're good.
God.
Yeah.
We're good. Oh man, it was rough. And I can't believe that. Like I don't understand because obviously there was no script. There was just like let's shoot this scene and then let's shoot this scene and then let's shoot this scene.
Someone needs to introduce these gentlemen to the concept of editing. You don't have to show everything. Even David the Rock Nelson understands editing. He may not be very good at it. He may not be very good at it, and he may have to go from VHR to VHR and tape and cut that way. But at least he understands it.
No, he has a scene where some
it.
guy comes up and talks to him, and he kept it in.
It's because he likes to keep it in. He likes to keep everything in there.
But that's not editing.
He understands it though. There are cuts. I have seen cuts that make sense in his movies. There are no cuts in here other than they ran out of tape and so they had to stop the scene. That's how it felt like.
Maybe, I don't know. Honestly, yeah. I mean, do I think this guy should direct another movie? Fuck no. But with the advancements in technology and everything like that, this was shot on probably mini DV, so it looks really shitty, period.
Oh, it does. It looks awful.
It wasn't shot on film. It wasn't shot on, beta cam or anything like that. It was shot on fucking mini DV. And right. You're right. They probably have tapes. Those are the little teeny tiny tapes that you have, like mini tapes. And they probably ran out of that after, saying.
Here's the other thing. Apparently, Lorenzo Munoz Jr. is now a music producer. So he has a music production company. So either they just abandoned this form of entertainment, or he got so successful at it that he was able to utilize his money and turn it into his dream of becoming a hip hop mogul.
Let's go with the former.
So, but I have a question for you, Paul.
Okay.
Because you're the one who chose this.
I
You're
did.
the one who felt the need to put this on the list. It's not horror. How is it supposed to be horror? I thought we were watching scary movies and monsters and shit like that. And shit. But
You're rapping.
oh, sorry. I didn't realize I had hit mute. Yeah, it's nothing. Like, was the horror part is like actually watching the movie?
It's so meta.
Like
the movie itself is horror.
what is that movie? What is that movie where if you watch the movie you die? Is that what this
The
is?
Ring.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, look.
Or you watch
We
this
don't.
movie and you kill the person who showed it to you.
It's Indie Film Cafe. We don't always show horror. However, is this classified as horror? Like, this is a crime drama to me.
Yeah.
Crime
Yeah.
drama comedy kind of thing.
Musical.
Comedy by not by choice.
Musical. There's several musical, if you want to call them interludes, where they rap.
They rap, but it's like I didn't even know they were rapping. Like, literally, he would talk, and then I would just be like, "Wait, did he rhymed?" Like, oh wow, was that a rap? Like,
Yeah. If Paul hadn't have said anything, I wouldn't known that any of that was in it because I just turned it off, tuned it out. Every time they talked.
you were on your phone a little bit, you're chatting with us a little bit. Like, it was.
We're all chatting.
We're all chatting. Yeah,
See,
yeah.
if a movie is cleverly written, the dialogue will do two things at once. The dialogue will inform the viewer about what's going on, and it will show you insight into the character so that you understand what this person's doing and why. I didn't really get the sense of either one from the dialogue in this film. This movie showed me nothing about, well, first of all, it told me nothing about what was going to happen other than in the very basic terms. We're going to go kill someone, so they kill someone. That's about it. I mean, that you could say that in 2 words, and that's it. As far as revealing who these people are, it's like all they did was they showed me nothing. You're telling me that these are the flattest, most one-dimensional people ever, and you're underlining it by using this dialogue, which is also flat and unimaginative and useless. A job well done.
I think a lot of the one-dimensionalness comes from the improv acting that comes from these guys, because
It
they
feels
obviously are not improv actors. They're not very good at it, but they're also very boring characters. Like, they don't have anything unique about
this
them.
can't be scripted. It can't be.
No.
Nobody sat there and write out Holmes 55,000 times. You
But
can't.
if there is a script, if somebody's listening and there's a script, please send it to indiefilmcafe@gmail.com. We want to see it.
Seriously, I will buy it.
He will buy the script from you guys. As long as it's not too expensive.
I want you to bring it up on the writers podcast that you do.
Hopefully Colleen and I will be back at that at some point. So if we can, I'll show her this movie. I'll say, watch it on Tubi.
Don't do that to anyone.
Oh, I already suggested it to Jessa. She was like, "Oh, I need a movie or a show."
Oh God, no! Oh, you're mean. That is mean.
Unlike the rest of us, people are going to see this and then they're going to turn it off in 10 seconds. They're going to be like,
right.
What the hell's this? And spit it out of their mouth like, poison candy.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'll see at least Donald Farmer knows what he's fucking doing,
I mean, the thing is, okay, I'm going to admit, I am not the biggest rap fan in the world. I think it's kind of a garbage genre, but, there are the occasional groups that do come along, or occasional artists that come along and elevate it and actually do some good stuff. I just think they're very few and very far between.
Like a
However,
Tribe Called Quest was good.
if
You know,
if I were like the biggest fan and loved hip hop and rap and gangster stuff, I would be appalled by this. I would think that this is still the biggest piece of trash I'd ever seen.
he keeps using that word, and it has his name in it. You know, he'd be appalled by it.
I was pretty appalled. Oh, dude, you have no idea. This had been on, on my radar for a long time because it was in that Pendulum pack, and I would
So,
watch it. And
how did you first hear about this?
I'd never heard about it until I bought it, and it was on that pack, that movie pack. And I go through and I watched it, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And then I'd turn it off and spit it out, and then I'd try it again, and I'd get a little further, and I'd be like, "Wait, something has to happen here." And then I'd try it again and try it again. It took like 6 or 7 times before I finally watched it all the way to the end, and then finally wailed in despair when it dawned on me that no, nothing actually happens in this film. It's a movie about nothing, like Moody mentioned at the show when we were watching it.
You know, it's funny because I could see Jen being asked to watch another Pendulum Pictures movie and her going, "Nope," and walking away.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
I mean, there are some fun ones there. They're usually pretty damn cheap and pretty damn independent, and a lot of them are pretty crappy. But this, no. This is a different dog altogether.
It's trash.
It's pretty trash though. Like you can't say this is a good movie.
No, nobody can. Madeline Deering cannot sit there, and she loves everything. She's not going to love this. There's no way. John Ward is not going to sit there and say, "Well, it's so bad it became good." No. I defy you, John Ward.
He's really kicking himself for that too. Like he knows, like he really, he killed you on the Alien Beast, on that. It should have been a 10, but he gave it a 5. Oh well, and it didn't even go back to being good. It came back to being like meh, I guess, and that thing.
I wouldn't even grant it a meh.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. But
it went from bad to being
this has been one of the worst movies you've showed us, for sure.
Yeah.
Like because it's a video. It's not a movie. And like there's no real plot.
It felt almost like someone was assigned an art project in college, and a general class. So this isn't like the art students, a general class that anyone takes, and you need to do this art project on something you love. And these guys were like, "Oh, we love hip hop. We're going to do this." That's what it felt like, this college art project. And you have to watch it and you're like, "Oh dear, it was so bad."
But again, it really has nothing to do with hip hop. It's just these two idiots who think they're hip hop stars, who really just want to become street gangsters, who just kill other street gangsters. And that's it. And they're such outlaws. Remember when we saw them and their car they were going 24 miles an hour?
Wow, they're breaking the law, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, what mavericks they are.
My
what
favorite
daredevils.
is still the 3 to 4 minute scene of them knocking on a door.
Mm-hmm.
After one of them went and said, "Oh, they're not home."
All right.
In the car, and then they're like, "Oh," and they all go out and knock on the door for however many minutes.
Took forever.
Claim that no one is there, and then go back to the car.
Yep. And they're knocking on and go, "Yo, Holmes, are you home? Are you home, Holmes?"
Home is home, Holmes. Yeah, it reminded me of like scenes in Birdemic where you get to see them park the car, and you watch the entire scene where they're parking the car. So unnecessary. It's like, why are we watching this? How is this furthering the narrative? What narrative? There is no narrative. It doesn't really matter.
I would say they walked better than the Mr. Wooding guy from.
That's true.
But you don't really see them walk much. You don't see them. They're just in the camera talking
It's
to each other.
possible because they couldn't see a damn thing. It's who knows what they did. It was really difficult to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And the sound was atrocious,
Sounds
so you could
awful.
barely hear what they were saying some of the time, and there was no subtitles for Pendulum Pictures doesn't have subtitles,
I
so we have
mean,
no idea.
think about it this way. Think about if you had gone to see a movie about hip hop gangsters in the theater, but you wore a spittoon over your head the entire time. That's what watching this movie is like.
Well, I mean, in those most cases, even that would be better than this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I would still enjoy that because at least there would be nice visuals generally.
I mean,
There's
let's
no
let's
visuals.
let's hope the spittoon is empty. But even if it wasn't, it'd still be better than
I
what
was
we
about to
saw.
say that really doesn't change the outcome.
My goodness. So yeah, but I mean, what about those moments where they do actually rap or there is music? What did you guys think about that?
I didn't know they rapped until y'all told me. So
Yeah, well, when we noticed that they were rhyming, then I was
That was
like,
it.
oh,
That's
that's
the
the
only
rapping.
difference.
oh,
So it would be like I walked down the street and the street was very beat. And I'm like, wait, did you
And
just
who are
just
they
rap?
talking to? Are they talking to us now all of a sudden? Are they breaking the fourth wall and by doing it showing off their rapping
Well, they did that from the very
skills?
beginning. The
Is that
very
it?
beginning, the first scene is them talking to the camera about Yo Holmes, I'm gonna go and do this. Yo Holmes, I'm gonna do that. But they're just like looking at the camera, not even looking
So
at each other.
we are the Holmes in
I
that
guess.
case?
Maybe. But then, well, actually, no, we aren't because he's talking to the guy, but the guy's next to him while they're both staring at the camera. And apparently that guy is the best
He's
friend
like
or
the
whatever,
sidekick.
the sidekick.
And he's next to him the entire time. It's just these two fucknuts. And that's it. And the occasional idiots that they kill. That's really what the movie should have been called. Two fucknuts and the occasional idiots that they kill. That's more truth in advertising, if you ask me.
So it's so funny because the people that are listed in the credits for like characters, carjack victim, the
Right.
weed dealer, cocaine dealer number 2, studio cocaine dealer,
So there are at least 3 cocaine dealers that they kill.
shotgun gangster. I don't know who any of these are. Like I carjack person I think happened in the very like when they got out of the talking to themselves in the beginning of the movie or whatever. Then they went to the next scene. I was like, oh God, thank you. Go to the next scene, and there's some guy by his car, and they just go and knock him out or something. Or was the carjack guy victim the guy in the car who got strangled? I don't know.
I don't know, but here's an extremely scary thought. There may be people out there who saw this movie and connect with it, that this is their life, this is a real thing, this is all they do is they blend one nefarious scheme after another without knowing anybody's names, without having any other bits of reality. There may be people who live like that. Can you imagine how
Well,
horrible?
are you saying like they watched it? Because like nobody would get past the first 5 minutes.
Well, I mean people who actually do live like this, who are these gangster type people, and that's all they do is go from one screwed up drug deal to the next, and that's their life.
I
That's
mean,
horrible. That's their life. That's like hell. That is a vision of hell. There's
I
no winning in this.
I don't think there are people like that. Like I don't unless they're
God, I
like
hope not.
homeless people, who have no, you know, like
So they're less homes.
yeah, they're homeless people.
Oh
Whoa,
no,
we
where's
lost
Jen?
Jen. What
She's
happened?
homeless.
She just wrote to me. She said the movie's so bad it even destroyed the Zoom call.
Oh dear.
I don't know. Yeah, you can hear me fine. Uh
Ugh. Yeah,
oh my
it's
goodness.
it's pretty damn bad.
I
Yeah.
hope we can get her back because we need to at least do the stinkometer in a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, I found
Oh, here she
Barrio
is.
Boys. Barrio Boys is on Amazon Prime. It's also on VHS on
Is that the right
Amazon.
one? Because there's two Barrio Boys.
Oh yeah, it's the one with the Z, and it's got Lorenzo Munoz Jr., actor and director. It's on VHS tape for $50.
What happened, Jen?
She says,
The movie killed my internet there for a minute. I don't know. I sat there and y'all were like in mid conversation. I'm waiting, and then
Well, you can
see
talk.
what your movie did, Paul.
Oh,
not my
Lord.
movie, not my movie.
Oh well.
Oh Lord. She's like, I just want to get this podcast over so I can continue drinking my eggnog in peace.
Did you
I'm out of
notice?
eggnog.
Did you notice there was not a single female character or person in this
No.
film?
Well, there may have been. We just couldn't see them.
True.
Because remember the one guy that got strangled, we were discussing whether he was an African American guy or not. But you can't tell. You can't tell what anyone looks like, except for their noses and their lips and their chins.
Did you not like the extreme close-up camera cinematography?
It reminded me of when everything was moving to digital and 4K, and the makeup artists on like the news hadn't caught up with that. So the makeup looked really bad because you could see everything so much clearer.
You could see her pores and shit
Nostril
like that,
cam.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sure when they re-release this on Blu-ray, everything will look so much better.
Oh no, 4K, man. It's gonna go to 4K. And it's gonna look so fucking pretty. You know.
Dude, there aren't enough K's in the world to make this movie look good.
KKK, maybe?
Yeah. Too soon, too soon.
I'm telling you, this is gonna be canceled. We're done. We broke the internet, baby.
There you go. There you go. It's out there, man. You don't believe us? Go watch this movie. I'm dying to hear somebody tell me what a great film this is. Somebody out there.
I don't. Yeah. If somebody did, I would. I would cry.
I would be very concerned for the person who said that they liked this movie. Who said that they enjoyed watching this movie?
Tommy Wiseau is sitting back there going, you thought I was a bad film. You thought me bad filmmaker.
You haven't seen Hop Locos.
Jamaican?
I don't know. That's the voice that came out.
Yeah.
The voice that came out.
Yeah. Oh man.
But
I actually did Tommy, like my own version of Tommy's voice, and my to Lila and Bobby. Lila was one of my former roommates, and Bobby was her boyfriend at the time. And he knew exactly who I was talking about and everything. But then she got really offended and thought like I was like making fun of this guy's like bad accent or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, that's like literally what he sounds like. Like I'm not making fun of it. I'm just doing my impression of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so bad. His accent. It's not, good at all.
Well, you got to figure this is the kind of film that most everyone should see who's making a movie as a way to sort of not make a film. This is how you ruin a film. If you were going to make a film about young up and coming gangsters who want to establish their street cred and want to there are ways you can do that. There are successful movies that have done that. It's just they knew what they were doing, and these guys kind of don't. And it's sad because again, this is their fourth film. So I'm very curious as to what these other films are like, because they didn't really learn much on this. The only other thing I can think of is that they had some kind of weird experimental thing going on, kind of like the Zen filmmaking thing that we've seen with Scott Shaw and Donald G. Jackson.
But even Scott Shaw and Donald G. Jackson have a story.
Sure.
Like there's some kind of story there. They've kind of figured that out. Like their stuff, it seems like, is improv. Like we've heard we've heard from Joe Estevez himself that, like, what's his the Donald will just call him up and say, "Hey, I'm shooting a movie today. You want to come and be in it?" You know what I mean?
All right.
Like, that's
Well,
wonderful, but
their vision is that they are not confined by the bounds of a script.
right.
And it's an interesting way of looking at it because, sure, the script gives you, structure, but at the same time, it also is a cage in that if you have a good enough actors that you trust and who understand the characters, they are fully able and hopefully are able to do things that are not in the script and can kind of go beyond it, and you allow them to do that. And I totally get that, but that is not the direction I'm seeing in this film. This is more like, I don't really know what to do other than to blab the same thing for 15 straight minutes. Let's film it.
And then we'll move on to another place where we can blab for another 15 minutes and just
In-
keep going like that.
in
for the whole
theory,
movie.
I remember you mentioned that there were several apartments. I think they were the same one.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Well,
The
no,
same
they
car?
no, but remember there was one below, right, where they would knock on the door and everything. There was one up at the top of the stairs. So there's at least two apartments.
Unless it's the same apartment with two different entrances.
I don't think so. Like, I think it was two different apartments. I'm gonna give them that. At least that. I'm
In
gonna
the
give
same
them
building, though.
what?
In the same building.
Probably. They probably had a neighbor and they're like, "Hey, can we knock on your door for like 15 minutes?
And just
know.
don't shoot us, please.
Just don't come out and ruin my shot, man. Because I gotta keep saying that you're not here."
At one point, they do get in the vehicles and drive someplace. And I was trying for the life of me to pick up some kind of clue as to where this was shot. And I couldn't come up with anything because you really couldn't see anything. But I do remember seeing movement. I remember seeing street lights. And I remember seeing a stoplight. So there was actual motion. And a scene did change. I swear to you, it did happen. It's
At
just,
some point, a scene did change. One.
It's-
Well, and they did have to film that one scene where they were fighting outside the car.
mhm.
They did that one shot and then they repeated it like 5 times or went backwards. They did crazy shit.
Yeah. And it also begs the question as to why, if they want to be like rap, hip hop guy, why don't they just write music and do it? Isn't that sort of the traditional way you become artists, is to actually create stuff and then work on it and then get better and then create an audience? And doesn't that seem
Work.
doesn't that just seem like the most obvious thing that you could do? Why would you do this? Unless you want to be a criminal and go to jail or get killed.
All right, so he lives in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah, he's an Arizona
So
guy.
I'm wondering if that's either there or Los Angeles.
What is going on in Arizona? Scarlet Fry lives there. He does a bunch of weird movies there. We've seen some of his weird movies. And something in the water in Arizona. I don't know what's going on.
So yeah, you must have found his Twitter just like our ex, just like I did. And so he's an independent horror filmmaker. He says he's a music producer, just because you say you're a music producer and have put your own music on mp3.com does not necessarily make you a music producer. I don't know. But his website is audiokill.com. So that's, I guess, but it says opening soon. So is this new or is this
well, you'll be pleased to know, Mr. Moody, that if you go onto eBay, you can see the Panic Pictures VHS Hip Hop Locos VHS tape is now for sale for $49.95.
Which one?
Hip Hop Locos.
Why would anybody want it for $50? I don't know.
Yep. And here's what it says on the back. We sometimes read the back of the box. So I'm going to read you the back of the box here.
Oh.
It says, a gangsta rap song brought to life. and this is going to give you far more details than I even knew just by watching the film, but this is what it says. On the evening of February 20th, 2001, two Latino rappers commit a heinous crime spree and filmed everything they did on a digital video camera. They had a plan to rob drug dealers for their cocaine, sell it, and use the money to record a hip-hop album rapping about their crimes. This footage was then taken directly from their hidden camera, along with other footage obtained from various surveillance camera. This is what actually occurred on that shocking evening. So, Moody, this was a found footage movie.
Yep, I was just about to say, it sounded like they're trying to be a found footage, film like Blair Witch,
And
this is a hip hop witch.
Elizabeth brought out a good point, and we told her that she could write us notes and give us stuff, but she said there was some parts that looked like security cameras, and I was like, yeah, maybe. I mean, I can understand that because it looked like you were seeing things from the point of view that you shouldn't, unless it was some other like omniscient, camera was filming it. But now I get it. So that is actually what they were trying to do. This is a found footage crime spree, Californication or whatever it was called.
Well, I mean, it looked, and that would be a great idea for a movie, right? Like Natural Born Killers on crack. I don't know.
Natural Born Gangsters.
Natural Born Gangsters. That could even been the title. But this movie was not that. Like, this movie was just, because
other stuff happened in Natural Born Killers.
Well, and Blair Witch. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Blair Witch. I think Blair Witch is overrated, and I find it to be kind of boring. But I still will prefer that over this any day, because at least with them, there's a story, there's characters, there's plot, there's, everything, it's and more interesting. I mean, I just would prefer a better ending, but that's me, but the rest of it, they really tried. This, they didn't try. I mean, they didn't do anything.
Right. When, God, I forget, when was Blair Witch?
1999.
All right. So you could say then that Blair Witch influenced this then.
Maybe. I mean, the Blair Witch was the second or third found footage movie. There was a couple other ones, I think, before Blair Witch.
Right,
but Blair Witch was the most successful one.
Yeah, it brought it out to like everybody, so that people understood that this was a genre thing.
Right.
It established it. So,
and then people started doing it for so long that it became kind of like there's so many on the market, kind of like this. Yeah. And this wasn't marketed as a found footage film, which if they had marketed this as a found footage film, I could see it probably doing better in a way, because people would actually like seek it out, and everything. But
well, there are clever ways you could do that. I mean, you could edit this in such a way that you could say that this was a part of a police investigation, that you're trying to figure out what happened, that they did their crime spree. There's a bunch of people killed.
Well, they found like the video
killed, and they're trying to piece it all together by putting this story together.
It actually does make sense as being a found footage film, more so than it should. But it's basically the beginning of the movie. It shows it's in order. Like you said before, like it feels like they just ran out of tape and stuff like that. It feels like it's shot in order of what they did and how they did it next and everything.
Right.
And so maybe that's, and it doesn't really, it's them with the video camera, like, just pointing at themselves. So like, it does feel like one. I'll give them that credit, but like, that's it. Like that's the credit they're getting, the only credit they're really getting from me.
I hear you. Well, I guess it's right about that time, unless you guys have other things you want to talk about.
Jen's
There's
like, nope.
Nothing to say about it. It's like nothing happened.
We got to tell you the ending.
The ending. This long I'm beyond.
Yeah, Moody, tell Jen what happens. The thrilling climax.
I don't even really know exactly, but I know at the end they kill some other person that we don't. And we thought it was the director because he was very Latino looking, but he was just another guy. So that's just Latino looking, These other guys, and you now telling me that Uno Dos is the director, it just makes me go, oh, okay. Like, yeah, and it makes sense for a found footage film to have the director, that's also the cameraman and also the editor and also everything
Writer.
else. Right. I don't think writer should be listed at all in this film.
Creative genius. Let's put it that way.
All right. I think it really is time to just end it.
So, yes, time to give our scores on the Stinkometer, by which we get our 3 reviewers. We score the movies from a 1 to 10, by which the lower the score, the better the film is. The more stinkier the movie is, the higher the score. And if you're feeling subtle, you can give it a half step, a 4.5, 5.5, 1.5. I'm thinking that's kind of how these guys are going to rate this movie. And then we take our 3 scores and then we total it up and then we see where on the ladder of stink this particular movie falls. If it gets a 30, then it goes all the way up to stinky heaven. And for a long time, there were only 30s, and then we finally scored our first 10 plus, and then we ended up having a second 10 plus. And to me, that is kind of where I was at, was where will this movie fall? Is it going to be
so
a 10?
does everybody have to give it a 10 plus for it to be a 30 plus?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well, how does that work though? Then if one person gives it a 10 plus, it's a 30 plus?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see if that conundrum actually presents itself.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Jen.
Who would like to score this first?
Do we really need to ask?
I don't know.
Really a question? I mean, is there any?
He just walked at you.
Okay.
Sorry, I brought my cock out. It's plastic.
All right, Paul, stop that. All right, now, let Jen do her thing.
Oh, this is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
So you would say it's a plus, right?
Yeah. How many pluses can I add to it? Yeah, it's like actually, like I said before I left, it's that scene in Christmas Story where he's having the dream and the teacher's like, "A plus plus plus." There you go. plus plus plus.
Wow. And this is your second 10 plus.
Yeah, your first one was Miss Werewolf, but that ended with you yelling at Paul, saying this was the worst movie ever.
Worst movie ever.
It was so bad, but
this is worse.
I feel like this is worse, and part of it is because I didn't even realize there was a story. I didn't know there was rap, hip, whatever in it, music, with a big post in it until you told me. I didn't. That's bad.
Well, I think there were like 3 instances. You sat through 2 of them and just never registered with you, but you didn't get the last one.
Oh darn!
It didn't matter. It didn't feel any different than the other 2. They were almost identical, if you ask me. If you were to, electrocute me, I would say yes, it's the same. I couldn't tell you the difference, but
if they give you a lie detector test,
yeah. I'm gonna have to mirror Just Jenn. This is a 10 plus. This is really bad. And the thing that I was talking with Moody about this earlier before we came on, I said, the biggest crime, in my opinion, with Miss Werewolf, even though it was a 10 plus, there was still lots of weird, wacky, kind of fun shit happening to keep you interested.
There was Hillary Clinton. He got Hillary Clinton in the movie.
The problem was it was over 2.5 hours long. It was like 2 hours and 41 minutes. That was the most punishing aspect of that film, in my opinion.
You didn't even know it was 2.5 hours long.
I mean, I knew it was longer than that, but still, that's its worst sin. This movie is the opposite. It's only 1 hour and 11 minutes long, so it's mercifully short. However,
not short enough.
It's
not
exactly. It's
5 minutes and that'll be fine.
Oh my God! All hope is drained from you. There's in Miss Werewolf, there's the hope that something weird and crazy is going to happen. There's no hope in this movie. It's a hopeless film. It's where hope goes to die. Abandon all hope, ye who enter.
Yeah.
All right, Lorenzo Muniz Jr., sorry, but like,
Wannabe.
I guess you're the gauntlet's been thrown down and you are the winner, of this terrible movie thing. I will agree, 10 plus. I think this I've seen Shark Exorcist, I've seen Miss Werewolf. I'd rather watch both those movies back to back again before watching this one.
And I think,
Like,
Jen, you hit it right on the head. This is the worst one we've done so far.
which is funny because you don't usually put like the worst one in the middle, of our series, but this is the season. It's one of the worst. So
It's the coal in your
Thanks, Paul.
stocking. The coal in your stocking.
is Paul, does that mean Paul's gonna find us an even worse movie for the final finale of this year? I don't know. Last year you gave us Sins of the Flesh of Poison.
You already know what we're doing for our season 7 finale.
I know, but I've never seen it, so I don't know. I can't tell you. I could tell you that almost anything I could probably figure out might be better than this movie.
It may not be professional, so to speak, but I can guarantee you it's a lot more fun than this.
That's the thing. Like, at least fun. This movie had no fun.
Oh God, no! This was the anti-fun movie. This movie sucks fun out of your body, so that when you go to have fun, you're like, I'm empty. I don't have any fun in me. That movie sucked my fun out. It's a fun vampire. It's a fun
sucker.
It's a fun pyre. Anthony Munoz Jr. or Lorenzo Munoz Jr., you're a fun pyre.
Well,
Somebody put a hip hop steak in him.
He's done.
Oh, the movie broke Paul.
The movie broke everyone.
It just baffles me that Paul found this and didn't find. I thought somebody told him about it, but no, he found this thing and decided to watch it all.
It took 7 or 8 tries.
I know, but I still would have. I don't have the patience or whatever that you do.
Well, it's just funny. It's like, remember I watched that one pack. It had like 3 or 4 movies on there, and I'm just going by the titles, and I'm like, yeah, El Chupacabra versus the Alamo, with dude from Chips, what's his name, Eric Estrada. That's got stinky fun written all over it, right? And I watch it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty bad. What is this? Blood Predator. Holy shit, that is like an atom bomb of stink that I had never heard of, was not expecting, and it just blew El Chupacabra versus the Alamo out of the water as far as
we still haven't done El Chupacabra versus the Alamo. Maybe we will someday.
We will get to it.
Even if it's not, nearly as bad as any of these. I mean, remember the season 1 where we had only 130? And that was freaking Twist. Or no, but was the Fateful Findings.
We had a bunch of ones that came close.
Like Things Killing, I think, got close and stuff like that. But this was so. And Paul, all of a sudden, he was like, "Oh, I want to do more." Like, once he saw the look on Jen's face doing Fateful Findings, he was like, I want to do more 30s just to get that. I just
remember you guys moaning and groaning over Roller Gator. I'm like, man, if you guys can't get past Roller Gator. I was listening
to our podcast. We did not moan and groan. We were having a fun time with it. I think we moaned and groaned more to Born of the Blood Llama and stuff like that. And Jen groaned more at Bigfoot Wars and
your movie, the one with the sex scene that went on forever.
Oh, Ski Wolf, yeah. Mm-hmm. So things like that.
There was no sex scene in this, right?
There may have been, we just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to have one, you don't see it. There you go. At least we didn't skis Jen out this time, right?
We just bored her more than anything. She couldn't see anything or hear anything.
Well, there you go. What's worse, being offended or being bored to death?
It's funny. Paul has said that Yankee Doodle Dandy will be the movie that gets put into hell with him he has to watch for eternity. This movie would be the thing that goes into eternity for me. After watch this on repeat. Thanks, Satan. I don't want to be in that.
I think even Satan would be like, yeah, no, I'm not going there.
Even Satan's like, you know what? I'm gonna be nice to you. No hip hop locos. You're fine. I'll just give you Miss Werewolf. And I'm like, Miss Werewolf, I could watch that for eternity because it's dumb as shit. And I just have to just stare at it and just go, But this movie would just, oh my God, I try to fall asleep and they do the Clockwork Orange eyes on me, or I like, they keep it open. So it'd be terrible. I would not like that.
Can you imagine if you were tasked with writing down all the dialogue? How would you get through that? That's
no, you can't.
Because
You can't
you have
transcript this
to,
movie.
you'd have to pay attention to everything they said and write it down.
Even a stenographer would say, "Nope, I'm done." Like I can't. After the 20th Holmes, they'll be like, "I'm out."
I know, and that'd be 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We were talking about this would be a
drinking
You'd be
game.
dead. There's no way. Well, how many Holmes you have to listen to, and just saying Holmes is fine if you say it.
If you're in a Sherlock Holmes
sporadically.
movie, sure.
But if you say it sporadically throughout, or whatever, but not every 2 seconds. I
Right,
don't need to hear that.
It's a caricature. Surely there are people in the barrio who don't talk like this. They just don't. This is like somebody who doesn't understand and thinks that this is how people talk. They don't. They really don't.
They do not.
I don't believe it. Holmes and shit.
They do not talk like
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I would say that Jen should change her tune and say, "This is the worst movie ever." I think that's the case.
No. Don't tempt me into finding worse stuff.
Well, you don't have to. You do that on your own.
It's not necessary. Don't show me any more bad stuff.
The paint drying movie. That's like 9 hours of paint drying.
There's literally a movie where you watch paint dry.
I swear to God, it exists.
Yeah, and was it on Tubi or something? Or
It's somewhere, I forget. But yeah, that's a troll movie. That was created for the simple reason that the guy hates the idea in England that you have to show all your movies to a censor board to make sure that you're not breaking any laws. And he was so pissed off about it. He said, "Okay, you're gonna watch 9 hours of paint drying. Fuck you."
I wonder if they actually watched all 9 hours or not.
The camera's at the wall and it doesn't move for 9 hours. I'm like, yeah, we kind of saw that.
That was this movie, except we couldn't see it.
Shit.
We couldn't even see it. We couldn't even see the paint dry because whatever. So at least the paint dry person had some talent.
Just because you can do some weird things with cinema doesn't mean that you should do such weird things with cinema.
Nope.
All right, like I said, the best part about this is knowing that you never have to experience anything like this.
And everybody listening,
ever again.
You just listen to us talk about it. Like, you don't need to watch it. Please don't. This is one of the first times we'll actually tell you don't need to watch the movie, and we won't promote watching the movie. If you watch the movie, understand you need to be loaded. And I don't drink, so I can't join you on that. But other people, if you want to actually have a good time with this movie, you have to be drunk or high to actually
load up on eggnog.
Right. And even then, I think you get bored and turn it off because
Yeah. See, I'm going to disagree with you there, Mr. Moody. I think everybody who makes a movie needs to see this because I think it is extremely educational. Because this way, hey, especially if you've got doubts, a lot of self-doubts, you're going to look at that and say, "Man, I didn't do that."
At least I didn't make Hip Hop Locos.
There you go.
You know what? That's what they say, at Disney. They say, "At least we didn't make Hip Hop Locos." And then people go, "Okay, you're right. The Marvels wasn't that bad."
And 99.9999% of the time, I'm usually the guy saying, "You know what? These guys still made a movie. They went through everything. They created something out of nothing. I don't care. In this case, it doesn't matter."
Yeah. because you can make something doesn't mean you should.
Mhm.
And I agree with that 100%. So sorry,
All
Lorenzo.
right.
I'm glad this was your last movie. Please don't torture us with another one. Don't give us Hip Hop Locos 2. No. We don't
The
want that.
Return.
Of Uno's Dos.
Not.
Like, please no. Oh man.
Are,
He's
are you
like,
gonna are you
challenge
gonna
accepted.
are you gonna contact our director,
No,
writer
I
buddy,
don't want
and
to talk to the dude.
interview
No.
him on our spotlight?
No. I don't want to. I don't want to know how he made this movie because I really don't want to know that it's a snuff film for real. Like I don't want to know that information.
Meanwhile, Joel Wynkoop is back in our audience and saying, "Hey, man, you talk shit about my film."
We liked Lost Faith. We gave that a better review. We did not give that a 30.
I know, but
So
we still ticked him off.
no, but I mean, he should look at this movie and go, "Well, at least I didn't make Hip Hop Locos." Like
That's going to be tattooed on my forehead.
at least you didn't make Hip Hop Logos.
There you go. It has to be a T-shirt.
A face tat with
I should
this.
make that T-shirt for you guys so that you can all proudly wear it.
All right.
You can wear it with your Neil Breen shirt.
See, Jen's okay with you giving her a Puma Man mug, but like anything with this movie or Miss Werewolf or
I love that Puma Man mug. I got to get one for myself. It is so adorable.
I'm surprised you didn't just
I
go
know.
order two.
Well,
like I'm surprised.
Well, at some point I will, but my favorite is the little Donald Pleasance head go, I don't.
What does it say? Like I love Puma Man or something?
Yeah, it's adorable.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, there you go. So, well, everybody, I think that's it. Like I mean, we've talked enough about this fucker, this motherfucker.
And just
shit.
so you guys understand, we will go there. We talk about doing the movies that Mystery Science Theater and Riff Tracks refuse to do.
Or even Red Letter
kidding.
Media, they've never tackled this movie. I don't think they
kidding.
will. I don't think they'd even sit down and watch the whole damn thing of this. We will do it so you don't have to.
We go there. Some of us kicking and screaming, perhaps, but we still go there.
Some of us get tricked into it.
Yeah, Jen didn't kick and scream. She just played on her phone and talked to us, the whole time.
Yeah, but
I like that you guys try and make it sound like I was the one who was just sitting there the entire time with my face on my phone.
I did not have my phone at all.
I was talking to y'all. We were all chatting during this time in these raps or whatever.
These raps that you didn't
I'm just glad I wasn't close enough to get punched in the shoulder because I could feel that was coming.
Well, yeah, but I think she's starting to get used to you screwing her over like this. So she's just like,
come on, I gave her some good films too. Puma Man was fun. Wonton Ton was fun.
Wonton Ton was not necessarily. That scared Joe Turek because that dog went into the oven, tried to commit suicide. So he was not happy with that. But no, this was much worse than any of those other things. Anything else, Die Hard Dracula was worse than that.
It's a rotten tooth, and we pulled it, and now we don't have to worry about it. It's out.
All of it.
Yep, done.
Yeah. So we want to say
it's all up downhill from here. Let's put it that way.
Downhill.
Easy sledding.
Wait,
You've done the rough parts.
I don't know, man. I don't want to go downhill. Let's not go any hillier.
Yeah, and I don't trust you, so
yeah. I think Paul's saying this to confuse us so that he can give us more 10.
Honestly, she's been saying that since season 1, so I don't know that there was any reclamation going to happen anyway.
She doesn't trust you from the very minute you're like, hey, come on over and watch a movie with us. And then you get over and, oh, by the way, we're doing a podcast too.
We have brought you on to some movies where they are good movies. Maybe we can get you on a few more of those because maybe it'll take the sting out of this one.
No.
No, she'll never forgive you for this one. So, yeah. I'm just glad she came back to do the thing, and we didn't have to find some other. And I didn't have to watch it again. That's all I cared about.
No, this movie's never being watched again. No.
And it's funny. I was just telling Moody, I sent him the copy that we did, or the podcast that we did for Sins of the Fleshapoids, and I was like, Jet got really, really into this. She had a lot of really good points, and she was really animated and was talking and making all kinds of comments. And Moody's like, yeah, I don't think she's going to say the same or do the same thing for this movie.
I did say that because I was like, this is a different thing. There was no. And I was pointing out to him that at least Sins of the Fleshapoids had, like, some kind of message or, statement that they were making, because they were an underground film that were really trying to be artsy. This is a movie that didn't try to be artsy, might have came off that way a little bit because they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. This was trying to be a real good gangster movie. Boys in the Hood, that kind of thing, and
mixed with Blair Witch, in my opinion.
Mixed with Blair Witch, the Boys in the Witch. I don't know.
Witch in the Hood. There you go, man. That's a movie. Witch in the Hood. Come on.
Did we already watch that movie? I don't know. We watched The Wake the Witch.
Yes, we did.
That was pretty bad too, but not nearly as bad as this.
That was just amateur
bad. Every other movie out of the water.
Yeah, that was just amateur bad. This is another level.
This is worse than amateur. Like, there's amateur, then there's whoosh.
This is fourth movie in, should have known a lot better.
I mean, I'm scared about the other movies. Like, period.
I'm gonna find them. I
know you are.
At least
but
one.
But Jen's not gonna watch them.
Nope. No. Jen has soldiered through. She's done her time.
She's let go. She's free from Lorenzo.
See, you're free. I'm still stuck in this prison, and so is Moody.
You're not stuck.
You voluntarily.
I know. You can leave at any time. You're like a prisoner who's fell in love with a captor. You're like.
Well, I'm just curious. How bad can a movie get? Doesn't it? Curious, isn't it? From an
isn't that called Stockholm syndrome? You have Stockholm syndrome for your bad movies, and shit.
There's got to be a movie that is the worst. There has to be. So it's out there. This is it.
I mean,
I'm gonna find it.
There can't be anything worse than this. Like, even Geek Magnet Bingo was better than this movie. Neil Breen is better than this movie.
Every time you think you've reached the bottom of hell, a new level opens up. I'm telling you.
There can't be. No.
This has been my life, man. Every time I think I found the worst movie, I find one worse.
See, Jen, when he can't get you on, he'll get me on to do those. So, I'm stuck no matter what. You left us early enough where you're like, you could tell where this was going, I think. So you're smart enough. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. And if you have seen Hop Locos, actually watched it, and it is on Tubi, we do not recommend it, but if you want to torture yourself,
I think you should bring the whole family.
Oh no.
Family adventure.
Oh Lord. Family night.
Only if you hate your family.
Exactly.
If you hate your family, make it a family night, torture them, make sure that they have to watch it, stay and watch the whole thing.
If you're trying to break up with a significant other and you have no idea how to do it, this is the way.
Hop Locos is your way. There you go. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Join us next week for a brand new episode. Until then, everybody, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
And shit. Okay, let's see. Can you guys hear?
It's got you right there.
What about you guys?
I'm right over here.
Louder than that, please.
I know.
Moody.
I'm just.
Hello. Are you recording right now? No.
You're not going to be what?
All munchy.
Munchy?
Munchy.
Okay. Well, we are back.